In December 2011, Dan Sullivan joined the Grand River Dam Authority as Chief Executive Officer. In the 5 years since, much has changed around the authority. Here is a short look back at those years. In 2012, GRDA brought a new focus to customer communications with a meeting format that still continues to this day. In the spring, GRDA completed and published its first Power of Power book, which was a comprehensive look at the authority's overall positive impact on the state of Oklahoma. Not only did the book detail GRDA's significant positive economic impact and benefit to customer communities, but also explored a broader, positive statewide impact, even in areas of the state not served by GRDA. The first annual GRDA Lake Launch event was held at the Ecosystems and Education Center. GRDA contracted with the KPMG to complete an efficiency audit of the organization to help streamline operations and address findings in the 2011 performance audit by the Oklahoma State Auditor and Inspector's Office. The authority addressed space limitations and recruiting issues by purchasing a building in Tulsa. That space is now the Engineering and Technology Center. GRDA received and accepted an invitation to join the Large Public Power Council. This helps ensure GRDA's voice is heard on a national level among the nation's largest publicly owned utilities. GRDA stepped into the wind generation market for the first time when it announced a renewable energy agreement to provide Google with wind power. GRDA asked for and received a variance request from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which allowed the organization to suspend the annual 3-foot drawdown of Grand Lake ahead of the Labor Day holiday. The Safety Department was expanded to bring a greater focus to safety issues authority-wide. In preparation for the 2013 Bassmaster Classic visit to Grand Lake, GRDA began work on the Wolf Creek Complex, along with other partners. Today, that facility is one of the best fishing tournament complexes in the nation. The Bassmaster Classic's successful first visit to GRDA's Grand Lake helped to put the entire region in the global spotlight and provided an economic boost that stretched into the millions of dollars. In February, GRDA contracted with the AOE Group to address important workforce issues, including succession planning, recruitment, strategic goals, and performance measurements. In March, GRDA continued on the path of credit rating improvements when Moody's affirmed GRDA's A2 credit rating and moved the rating to positive from a previous stable outlook. Much of the year was spent in discussions both internally and with customers to begin to formulate a long-term generation plan. In August, the board gave its approval to move forward with the construction of the new GRDA Unit 3 gas plant. Another important plan, the Grand Lake Shoreline Management Plan, was approved by FERC during the year, closing out a process that had actually begun in 2005. In the fall, GRDA CEO Dan Sullivan joined the American Public Power Association Board of Directors. On March 1st, GRDA and other members of the Southwest Power Pool began operating within the SPP integrated marketplace. GRDA's team was ready, with the personnel and procedures in place to ensure a smooth transition. Also in March, GRDA announced an agreement with Tradewinds Energy that would add even more renewable wind generation to the GRDA portfolio. This was an important part of the long-term generation plan that also included the decision to construct Unit 3. Also in March, GRDA signed the agreement with Mitsubishi Hitachi Power Systems Americas to purchase the new M501J turbine for that unit. In April, GRDA brought a greater focus to economic development across its service area by contracting with both Retail Attractions and Smith & Gray to assist customers in promoting their communities to potential businesses and industries. In May, the first GRDA Family and Safety Appreciation Day to celebrate the workforce was held at the Grand River Energy Center. In the fall, just ahead of the very successful $320 million bond issue to finance construction of Unit 3, GRDA learned that both Moody's and S&P would both raise their credit ratings on the authority. Moody's moved into A1 while S&P moved it to A+. The Unit 3 plan became reality when GRDA broke ground for construction in January. It was a historic day for the authority, marking the first generation construction project in 30-plus years. Following a board retreat in the spring, GRDA also began to shape its new 5 E's of Excellence mission that included its vision for employees, electricity, environmental stewardship, economic development, and efficiency. In the summer, the authority partnered with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission and Oklahoma Blue Thumb to bring the first Grand Adventure Day Camp to the Eco Building. The event was a huge success and continues to be a summertime favorite. Prior to the busy Labor Day holiday on Grand Lake, GRDA again asked for and received a variance request from FERC. It was the latest step to find a long-term solution to the lake level issue. Of course, 2015 was a big year for historic Pensacola Dam. The state's first hydroelectric facility turned 75, and GRDA celebrated with 2 events: an August birthday party at the Eco Building and a special banquet at the Powerhouse in October. Later in the year, public power issues were once again in the spotlight as CEO Dan Sullivan was appointed to APPA's Strategic Plan Implementation and Finance Audit Review Committees. GRDA also helped to host the Large Public Power Council Board during its visit to Tulsa and Grand Lake. A little over a year after ground was broken for Unit 3 construction, GRDA held another special ceremony at the Tulsa Port of Catoosa to welcome the arrival of the M501J turbine. It was a major milestone on the path to completing the new generator. In March, the Bassmaster Classic made its return trip to Grand Lake, once again holding its launches from the Wolf Creek Complex, which was upgraded in 2015 by GRDA and other partners to help accommodate the event's return. In June, GRDA and NEO A&M College announced a partnership that will allow the college to utilize GRDA lands along the Neosho River to further agriculture education. During the year, GRDA began a new training initiative geared towards its current and future supervisors. The program, entitled The Power of a Modern GRDA Leader, was led by trainer Christine Sexter and is a comprehensive approach to all phases of leadership for Team GRDA. In conjunction with that training series, GRDA also initiated a new supervisor roundtable series of meetings to keep communication lines open and further empower members of the workforce. Perhaps the biggest news of the year grew out of Senate Bill 1388. As that became law on July 1st, GRDA absorbed the mission and duties of the Oklahoma Scenic Rivers Commission. Since then, GRDA has committed new resources to the river and has embraced the responsibility of caring for these important Oklahoma waters. Also on July 1st, a lightning strike on site at the Grand River Energy Center set off a chain of events eventually resulting in a catastrophic fire on Unit 2. The process to rebuild and restore this important part of the GRDA portfolio continues today. Late in the summer, GRDA again received word that FERC had granted its variance request, allowing for the suspension of the fall drawdown of Grand Lake, marking the 3rd time in 5 years that FERC had given its approval to GRDA's request. As fall approached, the authority received the very best news possible when S&P announced it would issue a rating increase on GRDA's earlier bonds, while also assigning its rating to the October 2016 bond issue. At the same time, Fitch assigned an A+ rating to that bond issue while also upgrading its ratings on earlier bonds to A+. That successful bond issue took place in October, and GRDA will use the funds to refinance previous debt. In late October, GRDA learned that the Government Finance Officers Association awarded the authority's 2015 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report with a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That certificate is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and the 2015 award marked 15 years in a row that GRDA had been recognized in this way. As 2016 winds down, GRDA remains focused on its 5E mission: new generation construction, expanded responsibilities over Oklahoma waters, and continuing to meet the needs of its customers.